base rollups today. I think my main goal is to understand kind of how you guys think about the complexities of base rollups, the trade-offs, and kind of understand where we are now. So I was just doing quick intros, and let's get into this.
So maybe a quick intro to offer how we started, where we got an idea to even be a base rollup. So essentially, we started by really working on empowering and utilizing Ethereum validators as much as we can. That's why we introduced the first permissionless LRT to empower validators, make running a validator more viable to all the users. And as you know, with the development and the new findings around the real power of Ethereum validators, we didn't even know, for example, first we could use them for data availability. Then we got prototype charging and these upgrades. So actually the functionality of the Ethereum validators continued to grow. We were actually, after deploying sort of like a rollup for ourselves, to be able to even smoothen further running these permissionless validators. Now, there were discussions around even improving Ethereum further at the same time that we were thinking these rollup-centric roadmap. I think it was around December of 2023, right after the Columbia Cryptoeconomics event, that Justin Drake published the idea of base rollups, like the idea of like what are base rollups, what are the values. Really, the backstory is there is a big issue of fragmentation of liquidity, attention, and developer caused by the lack of composability of current L2s. We're reaching a point that a lot of transaction attention is leading to each of these L2s. L2s are becoming these little islands. I hate to say it, but sidechains, rather than being actually like part of Ethereum itself. And that became like a native sum game for all the Ethereum users today. So, long story short, shared sequencing was a solution to achieve this composability, but then another challenge risen that how do you convince certain rollups to use each other's shared sequence? How do you convince arbiters to use optimism? And the conclusion of the story was like, we have the world computer called Ethereum as this best form of computer that can be used for shared sequencing, and Puffer, we have a lot of them. And we realized we can actually utilize these Ethereum validators to be the shared sequencing layer for all the rollups. That's where it's called base sequencing and base rollups, and we decided to go that path of creating the unified stack.
Yeah, Daniel, there we got an introduction.
My name is Wang. I'm one of the co-founders of Taiko. So we launched our base rollup in May, so it has been in production for a few months. And also we cycle on average 1 million to 2.5 million transactions per day. And so we are doing pretty good, and we have a pretty aggressive roadmap to make sure this base rollup is not going to be owned by us. We are trying to make it ownerless. So I can share more info later.
Sweet. Okay, Euclid, beginning here at OneBalance. Essentially, we're building a world where users never have to use the words chain, gas fee, or bridge within their vocabulary. They use Web3 just as it would within Web2. And if they have a balance, let's say USDC on Solana, they can instantly interact with Taiko or DEX on Taiko without having to worry about E for gas fees, Sol for gas fees, and they have that instant finality.
Daniel, I think there's a bit of a meme going around right now that L2s are parasitic to L1. And I think specifically with regards to centralized sequence L2s who inherit quite a bit of MEV, but have some trade-offs with regards to composability with L1 as well as with other L2s themselves. How do you think about base rollups fitting in this picture of the L2 and L1 relationship, and why do you feel that building based is more advantageous for Ethereum as an ecosystem rather than a decentralized sequence rollup?
So I don't really agree with that statement. I think all the layer tools they are basically just different type of dApps, right? So they pay Ethereum for what they want to have, right? So if you don't pay for data availability, your state may be inaccessible, so it's not secure. So if you don't pay high gas cost for ZK verification, then you don't have max space ZK, so it's also a security issue. So if you don't pay, if you just extract your own value as signature, you don't contribute back to the layer one ecosystem, then the whole Ethereum is less secure, right? So from our perspective, we want to have the Ethereum validators, hey, there are opportunities for MEV, just do it, right? Right now, the MEV opportunity is still very small because there are not a lot of trading volume there. But eventually, most users will migrate to layer 2. And if most users come to base rollup, then the majority of MEV opportunities will live in layer 2 from base rollup. So those opportunities will be captured by L1 validators. And since it will capture more value, there will be more Ether staked, so the L1 will be more secure. And as a result, all the layer 2s will be more secure. So I think I'm not blaming other centralized secret-based layer 2s because, as I said, they just don't pay that. So they get what they get, right? So at Taiko, we just say, okay, we just help Ethereum to be even more secure by giving up the opportunity to make money for ourselves, and then let Ether play a bigger role in the entire scaling solution in this ecosystem, and let restaking have a use case, right? I can talk about that pre-confirmation later on, but pre-confirmation is probably one of the most important use case for restaking. So I'm proud to promote based rollup as a layer 2 solution. I think eventually every layer 2 will be based.
I don't have that much of a PC filter here. So yes, O2s suck today. They cause liquidity fragmentation. When you go build the O2, you have to create an entire copy of Ethereum on it. I have my own DEX, I have my own lending protocol, I have my own everything there. It means that you just defeated the purpose of even having it on in many ways. That's why we are bigger believers in app-chain specific feature on Ethereum itself. Really, the settlement layer should still be the Ethereum L1 itself. We feel like we deviated from the rollup-centric roadmap to sidechain-centric roadmap. Rather, it should be rollup-centric roadmap, it should be app-chain specific roadmap. We should gain the composability and real-time withdrawal back to the Ethereum L1. A little bit on the side, I know there has Max Resnick and others went on Necklace, and there was a lot of debate about how L2s today work, and it would be great to clear that up. Yes, initially Coinbase's base was first come first served. So there was less of an MEV chance capture or priority chance capture. In July, they decided to upgrade the chain to actually make it priority oriented. Sure, that created a different economical mechanism. But if you build a first come first served rollup, technically you wouldn't be capturing any net. So if you go base, you will still be capturing the congestion fees a similar way. So there is no difference in the income that you would have if you go app-chain future or base rollup future versus if you go other. Sure, if you want to introduce MEV or introduce MEV extraction from your users on the rollup, go ahead and go do that path, which is kind of crappy in my opinion, to extract rent from your users on the rollup.
So you think that the composability trade-off of base rollups outweighs the economic benefit of that?
Yeah, so I think the economic benefit does not change at all. If you go from your current L2 to base L2, the economic benefit does not change unless if you extract certain MEV formats. And yeah, I know that's kind of what Justin said, and everybody started attacking. No, base is making millions of dollars for priorities. Yes, a few months ago they upgraded it, and now you're getting it on priorities. So that's one side of things that I believe base rollups and base app-chains are gonna really redefine the rollup landscape. On the side of the MEV and economic alignment with the L1, I know we have a big problem with Ethereum issuance being inflationary right now. Majority of it because execution moved to the L2s and we don't get that much of an EIP 1559 bird. If the Amir opportunity that Daniel mentioned gets captured by the Ethereum validators, it helps Ethereum to actually grow to a more viable like validator layer. But if you capture the MEV by Ethereum validators and we get that EIP 1559, but for MEV, we also are going to solve the economic issues around the emission and what Ethereum has. So you're really hitting many birds with one stone by going based on chains.
Yeah, I'm also a big believer of base L3s, or at least settling base rollups down to L2s. I think you guys are going to run into problems with using the long block times that are in L1 with your base rollups. There's slower times.
So you have execution free bumps.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, like I think a little bit on the L2, L3, like I don't want to take too much time maybe here, but I'm going to make it as spicy as possible here. That's just arbitrary. And arbitrary vector. If you're getting a bunch of L3s on L2, you're just created arbitrary and call it like a base L2. But the biggest value is getting composability with Ethereum L1 itself. That's what we want. The capital market of Ethereum L1 is not even comparable with any L2 that we will create in the future. The amount of capital efficiency that you can tap into by being composable with the Ethereum L1 is unspeakable. If you start creating these L3, L2 settlements, you create arbitrary nitro stack.
Euclid, I think there's quite a bit of talk around kind of unifying all these rollups. I think that's one of the big design spaces of base rollups. Perhaps from kind of the user experience perspective, you could tap us into how you're thinking about the unification of these rollups, whether based or not, and kind of how you're thinking about it from that perspective. And I think Daniel can probably shine some light into some of the booster rollup design that they have for actual developers and that kind of side of things.
Cool. So I've got a little bit of a controversial opinion. Ultimately, people are going to do what they're going to do. They're going to build base, they're going to build non-base rollups, and you can't have a mentality of everything should be built on base rollups or non-base rollups. And there's ideas of shared sequencing, so on and so forth. I think we've gone too far down the rabbit hole of the tech side, and what we haven't taken into mind is the user experience going in between each one of these chains. And we can build these for scalability, but if there's no one there to actually use the chain in the first place, then what's the point of the scalability? And you can, I forgot what Sybil mentioned before, but because of all these chains, all the liquidity is all fragmented between these chains, and there's no way to unite the liquidity between all of these chains. So what we need to start pivoting towards is uniting all of these chains from the front-facing UI.
And David, maybe you could kind of talk about how the booster design allows developers to have more unified experience with base rollups.
So the current design for Taiko mainnet is that the block is proposed as one step, and then you generate proof, and then you submit the proof as a second step. So on layer one, you don't really know the L2 state into the second step phase, right? So with booster rollup, you want to unify these two steps into one, which relies on this assumption that some kind of validity proof can be generated within the block time, like 12 seconds, 10 seconds, Right now, in ZK is still not possible for real-time ZK proof verification, generation for general EVM-based block. It will take probably minutes, right? So SGX can be generated within 7 seconds or so. So the idea is to use SGX or T-based proofs first to make sure there's synchronous composability idea can be implemented and tested as a base rollup. The whole idea is because we don't want to just find a solution and then find a problem. The problem is exactly what has been described a moment ago. Now, a lot of apps, they embrace this multi-chain strategy, right? But once, audit once, deploy everywhere, right? We want to fix that problem. So you don't have to deploy everywhere. You deploy once on layer 1, and this code can be executable on all the layer 2s, right? You don't have to have multiple deployments of values, right? Which is cool. This is one thing we need to solve. The other thing is the liquidity fragmentation issue, right? We hope that layer 2s can just, the new layer 2 can just start and inherit all the data, the state and liquidity as part of the data from layer 1, and then we can just keep, doing more without like have to restart the new layer 2, right? So that's the whole purpose of this booster rollup idea and our new initiative called Greetings, which is going to launch a testnet in Q4 this year. So hopefully, with composable, apps across layer 1, layer 2, we can bring users a totally different a totally different experience. And users, of course, they no longer need to worry about breeze over to layer 2, breeze back, those kind of operations. So I think we need to figure out solutions to fix these issues before we can even think about whether those layer 2s can be unified. It's hard to convince other people to use your stack, right? So let people, try their own ideas, and eventually, I think, base rollup with, those kind of synchronous composability will be really, really, compatible. In terms of competition, it should be really advantageous to other solutions. Right now, we haven't seen this nice user experience, but once you are used to it, you don't want to go back to the current layer 2 experience.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask all of you guys, what's something that you are actually excited about in the rollup space, based or not, something interesting, something technical that you think is gonna have impact?
Of course. So maybe one thing I want to settle here a lot. Like you either have to go trust the third-party bridge, so you just move things, and then you create abstraction on the third-party trust. It just still sucks, right? We need to get to this future of actually global synchrony. We need to work towards this global synchrony, in my opinion, to actually reduce all the trust of all the applications you create. Sure, we did this research article we just did. Initially, we started into a big for ZK rollups as a trading wheel for ZK rollups and sort of a bug catcher for ZK. But then realized later we can actually use these TEE, or stateless sort of TEE prover to also achieve composability with L1, something that Daniel was talking about. They deployed on SGX, and I think Scroll also was deployed on SGX, the research article to a ZK rollup. We're also working with Automata today to come up with a multi-prover design that can be used so we can at least achieve atomic composability with L1. Global synchrony is a much bigger thing that we can come later. But in terms of technical specs, yes, we are also working on an atomically composable rollup. Unified rollup is going to be what you call proper unified rollup, out of the box atomically composable, because it's going to take the day for the app change feature. Another exciting thing that we're going to announce is next week we're releasing our pre-conf ABS registry on top of EigenLayer. It's going to be the first pre-confirmation ABS. One thing that sucks about base rollups, we are sequencing them on this shitty computer that syncs every 12 seconds all the error, right? We need to get faster, so we need pre-confs. And we kind of took the challenging path of collaborating with our collaborators and actually coming up with an execution pre-conf with better guarantees so we can speed up these base rollups so we can get to those. That's what some of the exciting is.
Awesome. Guys, I think we're out of time. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Round of applause.